Hello, good evening. Grab a drink. It's not a cup of tea today. What a plot twist. It's very warm and I'm very thirsty. Grab a drink. Make yourself comfortable for this week's video. So, this week's and last week's video are kind of all around the same thing. And that's going into more detail on some of the questions that I was asked in the Q&A that I did a couple of weeks ago. So if you haven't seen last week's video, you don't need to see it to make sense of this one, but they're kind of a pair. So I'll link it below, you can go and watch it. I will now be talking about my process of auditioning for LSMT. So without further ado, let's get going. So picture the scene. Matilda is now 22. She's in a university room. She's thinking, where should I apply? She's looking at like master's courses and stuff because I've just done my degree, or I'm about to complete my degree. And also 1-year courses at drama schools, 1-year intensive. I'm looking around, I'm applying. I remember I had a friend, well, a couple of friends who had already gone to the London School of Musical Theatre and had a great time and now working professionally. So I thought, why the heck not? Let's add it to the list. It's a really good school. They produce a lot of really good people who are working really well in the industry. Let's see what happens. You apply through the website. There's an application process, an application form. On the form, they ask you things like, do you have any music qualifications? So obviously I was like, I'm grade 6 flute and grade 5 piano. Do you have any dance qualifications? So I put in all of my dance examinations. I can't remember if they ask for your academic qualifications or not, but if they do, honestly, it really doesn't matter. I think they're more just kind of trying to gauge where you're at. So obviously, if you're coming out of uni, you're going to put you'll have a degree like me, or if you're 18 and applying, you're going to be coming out of your BTEC or your A-levels. They kind of know where you're at. So that's all written. You supply a headshot, and then you wait for them to send you a letter in the post. So I did all my applications before Christmas for all of the courses I was applying to. So I was applying from university, but I put all my letters and things to my home address because obviously I was going home for a month over the Christmas holidays. I didn't want to be sent anything and it just be sitting in my university house and me not see it for a month and miss important things. So came through, I was given the date of my round 1 audition. So round 1 is 15 minutes long. You sing 2 songs of your choice in full, so they can be contemporary or legit, whatever you think is going to show off your voice to the best possible way. So everything's changed slightly for the applications this year because I think they're doing things more on self-tape, but my round 1 was in person. So I went down to London. It was sort of like at the start of January. I was in the building, got to have a look round, met some of the other people who were also waiting to have their auditions, met some of the students, got to chat to them because they were helping out the audition day. And I went in. I'm gonna say it was it was really fun. I don't want to put people off because this isn't the experience from everyone, but I came out thinking that might have been like one of the most stressful 15 minutes of my life. Oh my gosh. So I went in, I said, hi, Matilda, I'd like to sing this song first and then I'd like to sing this song. So I did my first one, which was Rose's Turn from Gypsy, and then my second one, which was Disneyland from Smile. After I sang Disneyland, the 2 people auditioning me, literally, I can laugh about it now. And to be fair, I'm actually so glad that I'm so glad they were this honest with me. They said, we didn't like your first song, but that's okay because we loved your second. You performed that brilliantly. They were like, we can work on your voice a lot, which is true. Singing is my bottom out of the 3, but that's why I chose LSMT because I need to improve my singing voice. So like, we can work on your voice a lot, but you are a natural performer. Your performance of that song was brilliant. They were asking me things like, did you set it yourself? Which I did. They were like, did you have any help with it? All that kind of stuff. They then looked through my application with me there and they were talking about me as I was there, which actually again was really useful to hear. So they were looking at all my dance qualifications and like the fact that I wrote about choreographing shows at uni and stuff like that, and they were like, oh, and you're very tall as well, so that works for being a dancer. And I was there like, yeah, like I can choreograph as well, like I can do all of this. And then they were like, right, we think you'd be good at doing these songs. And they literally just started to play, and they were like, do you know this? Do you know this song? Yeah, there were a couple that I knew the show but didn't know the words, but then there were a couple that I did, but I only knew like a verse, but that was fine. They were like, we just want to hear you do that. So they asked me to sing Some People from Gypsy, and I literally did like a verse and a chorus, got the words completely wrong. I think I took a different line from each verse of that song, but there we are. And I can't remember what the other one was, but they must have played about 4 or 5 songs. They then said, okay, we want you to write down these songs because we want to hear you sing them. So they gave me a list of about 5 songs of things they wanted to hear, said, leave Rose's Turn out your portfolio for now. Not the one for you. Disneyland, keep that in there. We really want to see that again. So I left the audition like, what just happened? But also, I mean, thankful they were so honest with me, because I didn't sing Rose's Turn at Audition again. I sang the other songs that they had suggested for me, which in hindsight suited my voice and me as a person just so much better, because my round 1 at LSMT was my first audition for anything, masters wise. And yeah, so thankful they were so honest with me. They were really patient when I was saying like, oh, I don't know what song that, like, I know what the musical is, but I couldn't just sing it. They were so good. And I left thinking, right, I think I've got a callback then. I was thinking if they've given me all these songs to start learning, that's really positive. And I remember coming out the building just like in a bit of a daze and calling my singing teacher at uni at the time and being like, so I think I've got a callback, but I don't really know. And also I have about 5 new songs to learn. So yeah, that happened. About 2 days later, got the call from my mum that the letter had arrived in the post with my callback date on it, and a request to see 2 more songs from the list they'd given me, contemporary monologue and dance workshop. One thing that I will say here is that LSMT was so good and so patient with me when I had to move my callback date. So they gave me a date that was in the weekend of final rehearsals and tech runs and things before my final university dance expose show. Dance expose give us those dates like the first meeting in September, and they're like, book work off, don't do anything, like we need you for rehearsals this week. So I had to call them up and I was like, hi, really sorry, can't make it. They were absolutely fine with it. They were so good. They literally just changed it to the next weekend for me, which was the weekend, like it was on the Sunday, and I had my final dance show on the Saturday. So I was unable to go to the after show for my final dance show, but it was one of those things that was like, right, it's either gonna be worth it if I get in, or it won't be if I don't. And I've got to go and see what happens, because by this point, I had been to the school, I'd kind of fallen in love with it a bit. I liked the vibe, I was talking to students, and at this point I was like, I've got to go, I've got to give it my best shot. And I remember coming home from the show on Saturday, being like exhausted because I'd just done a week of really intense dance show, and just sitting in the bath and being like, right, and relax, like you've got an audition tomorrow, chill. And getting up at like 6 a.m. to get the train down from Leeds and to get to London in time. It was a long weekend. It was a big old long weekend. So callback day rolls around. They give you a time slot. I think mine was maybe like 1 in the afternoon. And I think you get like 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. And you go in. Adrian's there, who is our principal. Few of the same people who are on my audition 1 panel. I think there was maybe 4 of them. And I walked in and the pianist, the lovely Charles, said to me, I want you to sing Disneyland first, and I want you to do it exactly the same way that you did in your round 1, which was a nice little confidence boost. I was like, okay, right, you think that was good, I've just got to prove to the other people that I can perform this well. So I sang Disneyland, did it the same way that I did in my round 1. I told them the other songs that I had brought. They asked to hear Wherever He Ain't from Mac and Mabel. Did I sing Some People from Gypsy again? I can't quite remember. I'm not sure, but the songs that I definitely sang were Disneyland, Wherever He Ain't. I did my contemporary monologues. They asked for a monologue that's past 1900s. One girl on my course was asked to bring a Shakespearean monologue back for her callback, but she was the only one. All of us were asked to bring contemporary. So there you are, they might throw you a curveball and ask for some Shakespeare. So I did my monologue, I chatted to them. A really good thing that I really loved is that they actually spoke to you and sort of figured out why you wanted to do musical theatre, what brought you to LSMT, stuff like that. So they were asking me about my degree and what I did in my degree, and also they asked me why I chose to do my degree and why I hadn't gone to do musical theatre at age 18. And I said, as you'll know from previous video, I was offered these 2 foundation years, but I wasn't mentally, emotionally, physically ready for drama school yet. And I remember saying in my audition, like, at 18, 19, I had some issues with anxiety. I needed to go away for 3 years, have a university experience, grow up a lot, basically, figure out kind of who I am as a person. And I was like, I'm 22 now, I'm back, I'm ready, and I'm ready for drama school. I'm here, this is what I want to do, I'm so sure of it, and I know that I can take whatever comes at me now, I can take the pressure. I think that might have convinced them to give me a place. I'd like to think that helped convince them. So, and just as I was leaving, they were like, oh wait, can you just do one more thing? And I think I was the only person who was asked to do this as well. And they were like, can you just stand at the back of the room and sing On the Other Side of the Tracks from Little Me, which was one of the songs they'd given me for the callback. Can you just sing it a cappella? First verse and chorus, sing it a cappella. And I did. And that was that. I then left. It was done. You then go and sit in the changing rooms, or you're free reign off to go wander around London or whatever. And the dance call is at about 4 p.m. for us, I think it was. So obviously you're sat chatting, kind of figuring out what everyone else has done, how everyone else thought it went. And a couple of girls and one of the boys actually who I sat chatting to are now on my course with me, which is really lovely. We all met at the callback. So dance audition was done separately, boys and girls. And the boys also had to do a choir audition, I believe. I'm not quite sure, obviously, because I wasn't in it, but they had to do a separate vocal call altogether where they learned something with like harmonies and things like that we didn't have to do. So dance call, you do a hour-long dance class. There's like a tiny bit of a warm-up, but not really. It's kind of like a production class that we do now. There's no like corner work or anything like that. It's just learning a routine and performing it. So our routine was a very showgirly one from Come Fly Away. It was brilliant. I had so much fun. It was all like, ooh, and quite like, yeah, very showgirly. I wore leotard tights and jazz shoes, I think. Yeah, no one was asked to like put a heel on or anything like that. I think some people were in trainers. I'm comfortable dancing in leotard and tights just because that's what I'm used to, but people were wearing like leggings and t-shirts and sports bras and things. Like it wasn't like a you have to be in black leotard and ballet tights vibe. I really enjoyed it. You then performed it in small groups at the end, and the audition panel had all watched you sing, came in and watched you. They would then ask you a couple of people again. I wasn't asked to dance again, so I think it was just they were still kind of making decisions on people. They then spoke to us at the end and they said that we would find out in a couple of days. Their decisions would be based on things like whether they think they can do it in a year, because obviously this is 3 years of drama school crammed into one. So they're like, you might need a bit longer, especially if you're younger. If you're a 17-year-old applying, you might benefit more from a 3-year course. So they were like, whether you'll be ready for the industry after 1 year was a big thing about their auditions. I can't remember what the other things were. I just remember that one. But yeah, they said thank you, get your stuff and on your way. Picked up my rucksack and off I popped. I went, I think I got at McDonald's and got back on the train to Leeds. I will talk briefly about what I wore for my auditions. So I was singing quite contemporary songs, but things that were quite girly, like Disneyland was quite a girly one. She's a beauty pageant girl. So for my round one, I wore like a midi skirt and I put my character shoes on. I think I had trainers on before and I put my character shoes on, just sort of a nice white top. And then for my round two, I wore some funky trousers. They were like wide leg, black with white spots on, quite floaty. I wore my character shoes again because I thought that worked best for the character. And again, I think it might have even just been the same, like white strappy top, just like a normal kind of nice, like the kind of thing you would wear like if you're going to your grandma's for Sunday lunch. That was the vibe. It wasn't like I'm going to a cocktail bar going out. It was like I'm dressed nicely. And also kind of show my personality. I do wear a lot of like brightly coloured funky things. So I think spotty, funky trousers were probably very much my vibe. So cut to 3 days later, it was on the Wednesday after my Sunday audition. And I am in a catch-up rehearsal for Grease, which was the show I was doing because I'd missed the Sunday rehearsal because I was at my callback. They were like, oh, just go grab a drink of water whilst we go through this bit with this person. And I go over to my bag, pick up my phone and see a message from my mum saying, the letter is here. And I don't need to tell anyone. I literally just like walked out the rehearsal room, just FaceTimed her straight away and I was like, just open it. Just open it. She was opening it and I was literally stood in, for any of you who know Leeds University, I literally stood like in the corridor of my co-op in Union, like shaking. And my mum was like opening this letter and it was a fat letter as well. It's a really odd one when you get a fat letter because you want to hope it's good news because it's got a lot of information in there. It was a fat letter. And I remember my mum opening it at the kitchen table and just like reading it. And I was looking at her and I was like, hello, like, are you gonna tell me? And she's read it and was just like, just gave me a big thumbs up. And I think we both just burst into tears because I had been accepted. I've been offered a place and I cried, ran back into the dance rehearsal and literally just like shouted at my society friends, like, I've got into LSMT! And everyone like just turned around and was like, what? And then everyone hugged me and it was great. And I cried a lot and it was, a really, really happy day. That feeling of like, oh my gosh, like I've got into one of my top choices. And I knew at that point as well, like I loved the vibe when I was there. I loved the teachers on the panel. I just had a good time. I had a really good time. And I think I knew at that point, like, yeah, this is gonna be the one for me. And it is. I'm still having a great time. So there we are. That is my LSMT audition story. Please, if you have any more questions on the subject, drop them below. If you, I don't know, maybe want some advice on different songs or maybe some musicals to go and have a listen to. I'm not sure how good I'll be on that, but I'm sure I can give it a good go. If you're thinking about it, oh, I forgot to say, you don't pay for the callback. You only pay for round one. And round one is now, because I checked the website, is a self-tape round and it's £10 to do. So for the sake of 10 quid, which I know obviously is a lot to some people, but I really think for the sake of 10 quid and half an hour spent filming yourself, like I'm doing right now on your phone, apply for LSMT. Trust me, you won't regret it. I think even if you didn't get in, you would just have such a good experience and such a valuable experience at the auditions. Like even if I hadn't got in, I know coming out of that round one where they said, don't sing that song anymore, sing these. It was just like I went into the rest of my auditions with some songs that I hadn't even heard of, from musicals that I hadn't even heard of, the people in the professional industry thought suited my voice. And it just set me up so much more for the rest of my auditions to come. If you're thinking about it, do it. There's a quote in, I think it's Series of Unfortunate Events, which goes something like, if you wait until you're ready, then you're never going to be ready. Don't wait around thinking, oh, I'll apply next year. I'm not quite ready yet. Just do it. Just do it. What can go wrong? If you go in, you forget your words and it's a massive mess up, you'll walk away, you'll laugh about it. And then one day when you're winning your Olivier Award, you can be like, oh, I remember that time I went to that LSMT audition and just made the biggest mockery of my song ever. If you're thinking about it, apply for LSMT. So on that note, follow, my Instagram. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want any more theatre content, London life, all that kind of stuff, that's what I'm here for. If you have any questions about my time at LSMT, the audition process, anything like that, leave them below, message me on Instagram. My DMs are open. And I will see you next Wednesday for another video. Have a lovely week, guys. Mwah!